welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for coming back. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing, for telling your friends about this place. I am so grateful. Thank you. My name is Ife Aduradola, and if you're here for the first time, yay, welcome. Congratulations, you are in the right place. Okay, so today we're going to be answering another frequently asked question, which is, when can I start reading to my children? How early is too early? Jeez. There is no time that is too early, and there is no time that is too late. Whenever you start to read to your children, it's just perfect. What is important is that you start reading to them, you introduce books to them. I started reading to my daughter at the age of 4 months. And that was because I just recovered from the old postpartum blues and everything that, all the stress of having a baby, adjusting to a new life, a new sleeping pattern and all of that. So, it was convenient for me to start at 4 months, and that was when she started creche as well. So we had a pattern, a routine rather, and we used to read in the car. So there's always a book in the car, always a book in the car in case we have to read. And I had a driver, so I'll be at the back reading to her while we're on our way to school, and it became a tradition. Even till date, we do it. Just that now I have to drive them to school. But the good thing is that my daughter is independent now. She's 5 and she can read on her own. So I get books that are easy for her to read in the car, correct a few pronunciations and all of that. So it's a beautiful experience. So at 4 months I started. So you can start at any time. There was a research I saw that stated that you can start to read to your child even from pregnancy. Yeah, and I believe that. I think that is very true, because every child, every baby recognizes the voice of the mother, right? I'm sure you believe that, because the mother is the one who carries the baby for 9 months. So your baby is going everywhere with her, talking with her, singing with her, crying with her, all her expressions, all her emotions, the baby is experiencing it with her. So when she begins to read to a child as well, the baby can hear. The baby might not understand what you're saying, but the baby can understand the intonation of your voice, the expression of emotions and all of that, the new words. I think in the last video I mentioned something about the word bank. This is how words drop into the word bank. So your baby comes out and then gets used to that same pattern of you reading and starts to use some beautiful words, and you're just wondering how. Wow, I have such a smart child. It's because you started to do it before the baby even came. And in that same research I read that even the type of music you want your child to like to read, to listen to, you can influence it. So I think they tried something around jazz for a pregnant woman. You know how these people do their research and testing and all of that, and it worked out fine, that the baby grew up and started to like jazz music. So I don't know if the music part is true, but if the book part is true, the music part will definitely be true. But you can try it. You can try it. So you can start reading as early as during pregnancy. You can start reading at any time. But I would advise new moms, please take time to recuperate, take time to adjust to your new life, and you can start from 4 months or so. And in fact, it is at that time at 4 months that the babies can actually, as what's the word now, they can pay attention to images and all of that. At the very early stage, they are seeing colors in only black and white. So it is when they are reaching that age that they begin to see colors, and they may not be able to identify them, but it is not looking like black and white anymore. So you can start at 4 months. If you have missed the 4 months mark, no problem at all. Let's assume you have a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old that you've not started reading to. You can start reading to that child at that time. What is important in reading is getting age appropriate books. A lot of us parents are in a hurry. You want your child to read, quite all right. You're seeing a lot of posters, a lot of videos like this talking about reading, but you're not even doing it the right way. How old is your child, and what are the books that are appropriate for that child at that age? So it will not make sense for you to get a storybook that has 6-7 lines per page for a 2-year-old. You're going to lose that child's interest, because it's too much. Simple lines. At that stage, you should be teaching them shapes, colors, and alphabets and numbers, and associating objects with their names. So get age appropriate books. I'm going to do a video on that very soon, on age appropriate books for children. You get age appropriate books. That way you will be able to see progress in the reading culture of your child. There is no magic about it, to be very, very honest. Yeah, so if you have also missed the 1 or 2 year old mark, no problem at all. And I'm repeating this no problem because a lot of us parents, especially moms, we beat ourselves a lot over very little things. So I'm talking about my child who reads fluently at 5, I started reading to her 4 months, and the mom is watching now and thinking, what have I been doing in my life? My sister, you are good, you're fine, you're okay, all right. There is no problem at all, you are doing well. It is not late to start, you can start now. So if you have a toddler, toddlers are the most interesting set of people to read to. They are so much fun. They will bring out the childish part of you, and you have to be able to swallow your own pride, remove your ego, throw it away completely, remove your ego, swallow your pride, and bring yourself down to their level, so that you'll be able to relate with them and receive feedback from them. There are some books that toddlers read, that's age 3 to 5. There's some books that they read that you have to make some sounds, right? You have to make sounds. There's some innuendos that you just have to employ when you're reading to that age. So it takes a lot of work from you, and it takes a lot of work from the toddler himself. So very interesting stage. I'm still enjoying it. I enjoy this stage so much because of the feedback, especially because of the feedback that I receive. And in fact, sometimes what I do is we read the book, and then I ask my daughter to give me a summary or tell her own story, and she tells some very good, interesting stories. You wonder where that came from. But because of the culture of reading that she has imbibed, her imagination is bright, so she's able to come up with different stories, marry different characters together, and it's always beautiful. So you can do that to read to your toddlers. Beautiful stage. So if you have missed the toddler stage too, still no problem, mommy, no problem, daddy, you are still doing very, very well. But you have a 6-year-old, maybe 6 to 9 or 6 to 10. There are books that are appropriate for that age too. At that age, they started to read on their own. So you don't get a book that a 10-year-old will read perfectly for a 6-year-old. No, you're going to lose the interest of that child. Child will get tired. You will get frustrated. Oh, why don't you know this word? You at this stage, at this class, you don't know this. You don't know. No. So you have to be very, very sure that you are getting the right set of books for that age before introducing the book to the child. So at that age too, if you have not started reading to your child, it's okay. Just make sure that you get age appropriate books and then give it to your child to read. If you have a preteen, that is from 11 to 13, 9, 10, 11 to 13, yes, there are books. I think at that stage they do well with themed books. Maybe some superhero, some cartoon characters, or whatever. It could be a sport themed books, whatever it is that interests them. And this also applies to the toddlers. Ask questions. Feedback is very important when you're communicating with people, not even children alone, with people, so you know what they like and what they don't like. For instance, if you have a child who is very keen on sports, right, and because the child is a girl, you're forcing her to read fairy tale stories or princess stories, you might be causing a problem for her. Let her pick the type of books that she wants by herself, and whatever it is, please be ready to accommodate it. So it doesn't really matter if she's reading about basketball, she's reading something, let her go ahead and read it. It doesn't matter if she's reading about fairy tales, she's reading something, let her go ahead and read it. If she wants to read Bible characters, anything you want, anything she wants or he wants to read, please let them pick their books themselves. You'd also study the kind of persons that they had, their personality. Okay, I think, for instance, let me just use as an example. My son is 3 and he likes anything automobile, cars, trucks, trains, bulldozers, bulldozers, motorbikes, anything that moves, that has wheels. My son is interested in it. And the way my daughter took interest in reading is not the same way my son took interest in reading. There are two different people when it comes to reading. My son doesn't sit still. So when I realized that he likes anything automobile, I started getting books about Bob the Train, Thomas and Friends, Cars. You know, the Cars cartoon, they have books too. You know, different things that has that theme. And trust me, right now, it will bring the book to me. Yesterday, he was reading a book under surprise, and it's about fruits and animals. It has fruits and animals in it. And my son, even up to this morning, kept on opening to the page where they lined up different types of fruits. So I know now that if I want to get his attention again, I'm gonna have to get books that kind of mention fruit, or that are, you know, that have a fruit theme. So study your child. What does your child like? Who is your child? What's the personality of your child? What will your child be interested in? You can take them to the bookshop and make them pick by themselves also. But this is, I think this is more for the older age anyway. From 6 to 10, you can make them pick their books themselves. From 10 to 13, let them pick their books themselves. Just make sure that they are books that, you know, you are sure that the morals are sane. Because there was a book I bought. No, I'm not going to say that online. I'm not going to say that online. But just, you know, also check what they are reading as well, to be sure that it covers the same values that you know, it's the same family values that you have. Okay, then if you're working with teenagers as well, and you have a teenager that you've not been reading to, or you've not, you know, bought books for in a while, you don't have a reading culture, it's okay. It's really okay. Like the other categories, to let them pick their books themselves. Let them know what they're interested in. It may not even be all novels. It may not be storybooks. For that age, I strongly recommend other literatures, newspapers, journals, articles. I mean, it's fun to hear a 15-year-old talk about finances with you, and you're like, how? And that is because of the things that they're exposed to. So let them read any kind of literatures, you know, because it expands their brains, it expands their minds, it enlightens them. So it's not just storybooks we're talking about now. Any kind of literature is good for that age. So if you have not been reading to your child, please, I beg you, in the name of God, go ahead and buy them books. Take them to the bookshop. There are people who sell fairly used books, pre-loved books in very good condition. There are people who sell, I mean, very new books, and at very affordable prices. They are online, they are on the internet. There are people around you. You can just send a message, you know, and they get it delivered to you. With 5,000 naira, you can get good books for your children, different ages. So please, let's make this priority in 2022. Let's make it priority in 2022 that we're going to imbibe the reading culture into our children. It is too important. Please, it is way, 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 way important. And one major thing also that we parents miss is this. We want to read to our children. We want our children to be readers. We want them to speak well. We want them to do this, blah, blah, blah. But you've forgotten that children watch you. They emulate you. They do what you do. They do what you do. So mommy and daddy, or auntie and uncle, guardian, when you're at home, what do you do? How do you manage your time when you're at home? Are you always on your phone? If you're always on your phone and you're trying to get a child, especially a toddler, to stop using phones, you are deceiving yourself. It is not going to happen, because they are watching you. So whatever gives you the right to use that phone at that time also gives them the right to use it. You cannot justify your reasons for not allowing them to use it at all. You can't, and that's just the honest truth. So if you want to have read your children who love to read, you should also pick up a book in front of them and read. So when they see you read a book twice or three times in the week, it becomes a culture for them. Okay, if mommy is doing it, it means it is okay for me to do it. You have to lead by example. All right, you have to lead by example. Or you can have a reading club in your house. Okay, as a family, mommy, daddy, and the children, we're going to be reading Chimamanda's Popular Hibiscus, and we're going to discuss it in 3 weeks time. So everybody knows they have to finish that book in 3 weeks. And then daddy, you don't go ahead and say, oh, I'm so tired tonight, I've been in Lagos traffic, we're not going to do this. You will break their hearts, you discourage them, you know, you're passing the message of inconsistency, you know, that you are not deliberate about it. You're passing different messages to them, and those are the things that helps them to grow. So when they start to grow and see you doing these things this way, you're setting a very terrible example. So please, let's be consistent with it. You can get books if you've not been reading as an adult. Simple. I mean, somebody sent me a message recently and said that she used to read novels as a child, or when she was in school, but right now she doesn't have the time, and then the interest is out. You don't have to read a big volume book. You can get short stories. I enjoy short stories a lot because I mean, just I know that this story has started now and it's going to end very soon. I don't have to go through your lifestyle, your lifetime background, how blah blah blah, unless the story is really compelling. But I do well more with short stories. So I advise that why don't you get a collection of short stories? Start from there, and then the interest for reading begins to build up again, and you're doing fine. So please, if you've not been reading or you think you want to go back to it, especially because you want your children to also cultivate that habit and the culture, pick something that interests you and pick something that will not make you tired. You don't need to get a book of 900 pages. Just go to a bookshop, take a stroll in the book. Nobody will send you out of a bookshop. Take a stroll in the bookshop, just flip through pages, look at the covers, read the blurb at the back and all of that until you find something that that interests you. You pick it up and then you start to read. So that is how it's going to work. That's actually how it's going to work. All right, so I think I've answered the question of how early or when can I start to read. You can read to your child at any time, but the key is consistency and you also be a good example. Thank you so much for staying with me. I really appreciate it. See you again in the next video. Bye bye.